Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to day 71 of the Free to Hope presents the 12 steps applied to COVID-19. Day 71. What a fantastic and happy new day. Yes, I am not a representative of Alcoholics Anonymous that originated the 12 spiritual principles back in the 1930s, and they have been successful for over 80 plus years. But I have been a proud, humble, and grateful member for over 30 plus years. And if it's God's will that He wake me up on February the 23rd of 2021 and breathe life into me, we will be celebrating 31 years of recovery from alcohol, drugs, and the associated attitudes, ideas, behaviors, and lifestyle. So for that reason alone, this is a happy new day. And I am grateful this moment, this morning, this hour, that He breathed life into you this morning, breathed life into me this morning, woke you up this morning, woke me up this morning, so we can rejoice and make it a happy day no matter what's going on. Free stands for from recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. And so day one of the 12 steps being applied to COVID-19, which I and 7 other family members contracted it and survived it, only by the grace of God. Therefore, I feel obligated. I feel it is my responsibility to share with you my experience, my strength, and my hope. Because guess what? I did not consistently wash my hands. I did not consistently wear a mask. I definitely did not social distance. And I was in doubt about getting the vaccine, let alone the test. So because my family members and I back in November and December of 2020, after surviving COVID-19, you better believe I am taking the simple suggestions, got tested, and even got the vaccine shot. And so before we go on, I just want to let you know that we want to give 30 seconds of silence to give homage to our higher power, our God, our Creator, because He knows the beginning, the middle, and the end of this COVID-19 pandemic. But He also gave us a solution that you and I can do individually and collectively to change the perpetuation of this COVID-19 effects, impact, outcomes, and fatalities. So for these 30 seconds, a moment of silence, we also want to include those who have lost loved ones to COVID-19, those who have transitioned from COVID-19, those who are yet on the borderline of death from COVID-19, those who are suffering right this moment from COVID-19, those who are doing what they're supposed to do to not contract COVID-19, as well as those who are still in defiance and who are still in disbelief, who are still being rebellious, who thinks it's a hoax, and for those who are intervening on behalf of those with COVID-19. So in other words, we want to give a moment of 30 seconds of silence to the entire human race as we simultaneously around the world go through this COVID-19 pandemic. Join me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you on behalf of those who are unable to say thank you, who refuse to say thank you, can't say thank you. I say thank you on their behalf for giving us the 30 seconds of silence just to give homage to our Creator and our entire human race. Okay? So now what I would like to do is to introduce you to my sponsors, and I'm going to put them up on the screen because without my sponsors, I would not be able to have this podcast showing you and giving you the information. And so, although this information is free to the public, just like the 12 steps of Alcoholics Anonymous, Gamblers Anonymous, Cocaine Anonymous, they are all free. But on this platform of podcast and trying to get on as many as I can to share my experience, my strength, my hope, my wisdom, my lack of wisdom, my decisions, my choices, both bad and good, I welcome sponsors. So my first sponsor is Free to Hope, LLC, from recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. Women Do Hall Transportation Services, LLC. My crown that you see that I wear every time I'm in front of you is done by Mr. Mark Cooper of Mr. C's Barbershop. The attire that I wear is from Morgan's of Delaware. The Afrocentric attire that I wear is from Lady T at Morgan's of Delaware. They are all my sponsors, and the one that I give the most homage to only because it parallels with our spiritual approach in obtaining that psychic change of divine light. It says for the addiction and alcoholism, Dr. Carl Jung and Dr. Bob and Bill said, no, we who suffer from the disease of alcoholism need divine intervention, divine providence, and I got hooked up with divine light. So if you want to be a sponsor, please Cash App $free to hope, or call me directly at 302-690-6679 or email me edwina.bell@yahoo.com. All right, so now I want to share with you how the information that is being presented can show you how I got to sit before you this day. I presented the 12 steps back in April of 2020 as the direct result of an article by Dr. Scott T. Allison. And that article emphasized how we as a society can benefit from the wisdom of a 12-step program. And I shared with you that how the wisdom of the 12-step programs can help get us through April. And when Dr. Scott T. Allison wrote that article in Psychology Today, and I read it on the 31st of March of 2020, guess what? I hit that live button on April the 1st and have been on ever since. So go back to April the 1st to see all of my podcasts as I present to the world the 12 steps and how they can help us in all our affairs. Dr. Allison emphasized 7 points. 1, letting go of control. 2, patience. 3, keeping the focus on oneself. 4, trust. 5, living in the present. And 6, social connections. And 7, service to others. And many of you will say, well, in that article, I'm going to take this off now, by Dr. Scott T. Allison, he emphasized the importance of working all of these spiritual principles in all our affairs so that I, who did not do it regarding COVID-19 initially, right, have applied them to my life now. Why? because I was defiant, I was rebellious, I had an attitude of being invincible. It won't touch me, it won't touch my family, but it touched us in November of 2020, and we suffered through it for 2 months, me and 7 family members from the age of 2 to 78. And on December the 3rd of 2020, I hit that button to demonstrate to you what COVID-19 looks like on me. What you see now is only the progression of getting better, right? But when you saw my opening page, you saw 2 pictures. One when I was affected by COVID-19, and the next one was as I began to improve from the symptoms of COVID-19, all right? And as a result of that day, December the 3rd, you can go back and see the transition, the transformation of applying these 12 recovery principles. Why? So that I can plant one seed in you, you can plant one seed in another, and they in another, and it can perpetuate just like the perpetuation of that COVID-19. The 12 steps are a solution, because we want to be in or the prevention of COVID-19, the intervention mode of COVID-19, or the restoration mode of COVID-19. Are you being proactive, inactive, reactive, or responsible regarding COVID-19? And so when we simultaneously, individually, and collectively apply these 12 steps that are spiritual in nature, there is a solution. And they are found in the 12 steps originated by Alcoholics Anonymous and being applied to any and other area of focus. And now we are focusing them on COVID-19. As a result of now washing my hands consistently, of wearing my mask to the point where I forget to take it off, right? I tell you, boy, my grandchildren are something, right? They would say, Grandma, you can take the mask off. You're getting ready to go to bed. I was like, oh, okay, right? Social distancing, right? No longer having, going out to public places, being around other people who are not in my immediate circle, right? And definitely getting tested and got the vaccination shot. Yes, I did. My arm is still not as sore, but just a little bit. And I'm waiting to be contacted to get the second shot. And I'm telling you, if you were like me, who had apprehension, who had confusion, who had doubt, who had skepticism about this vaccination shot, with the history and the different myths and the perception and the perspective, do your own research, because I found out through doing my research, asking questions, that the vaccine only decreases the severity of the symptoms should you contract COVID-19. Therefore, it will decrease the percentage of you being hospitalized and will decrease the percentage of you dying from COVID-19. So that's why I decided to go and get vaccinated as a result of being contacted by I'm going to keep calling him Dr. Reverend Daniels, right? But Reverend Daniels of Canaan Baptist Church, where my pastor, Dr. Christopher Allen Bullock, shared with his sheep that the vaccination is available through our fellowship. And as a result of that call, I went and did the process and got scheduled and got the vaccine shot. And if you're from Missouri, let me show you right now what that looked like, okay? I listen. Here it is, y'all. All right. Let's put it up here, okay? Start again. Okay, here it is.
All right, here we go, my daughter. Got it? All right, put your Band-Aid on.
So you saw that I got the vaccine shot, and I'm going to show you when I get the second shot, okay? So make sure you do your own research. get all the questions that you need answered so that you can be protected from the severity of the symptoms, right, from COVID-19 should you contract it, right? And so we just hope that utilizing the CDC suggestions and now applying these 12 spiritual principles, you can decrease the possibility of contracting COVID-19 as well as infecting other people, including your family members. So wash your hands, wear your mask, right? Social distance, get tested, and age appropriate, get vaccinated, right? So let's continue with our presentation or our conversation. So we have a lot to cover. So go to Dr. Scott T. Allison article in Psychology Today. Now, for those who need to be reminded what the 12 steps are and how we are going to apply them to COVID-19, let's get started for this overview and synopsis and summary, just because we never know when the student is ready and the teacher needs to appear, or the student needs to be taken to another level, or you need to be reminded. So here they are. The 12 steps that were derived from jasonwallers.com, and the breakdown of all the 12 spiritual principles are outlined there, and they are so simplistic that a child can learn from them. However, the 12 original steps came from Alcoholics Anonymous, so we're going to change the area of focus to COVID-19. One, we admitted we were powerless over COVID-19, that our lives had become unmanageable. Two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity, soundness of mind. Three, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God. Four, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Five, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Six, were entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Seven, humbly asked him to remove our shortcomings. Eight, made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. Nine, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others, even you. 10, continued to take personal inventory when we were wrong, promptly admitted it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for the knowledge of his will for us and the power to carry it out. And 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others regarding COVID-19 and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Many people say, why you keep showing the same thing over and over again? Because we found out in the 12-step program of Alcoholics Anonymous, repetition is so important, because most of us hear, but the goal is to listen, and listening implies action. And so just in case you need to be caught up, you need to be reminded, and now you need to listen, which is why we do the repetition, the overviews, the synopsis, the summary, and we will continue to do that as we provide additional information each day. But if you missed any of our morning conversation, go back to April the 1st of 2020, when I started my podcast and presenting the 12 steps to you as we deal with this COVID-19 originally. And then if you want to see how I looked with COVID-19, go back to my podcast of December the 1st. That will be day one of day 71, talking specifically to my experience, my strength, my hope, my wisdom, my lack of wisdom, my decisions, my bad decisions regarding COVID-19. They say in our fellowship of Alcoholics Anonymous, all human beings are ill to some extent, and all human beings can benefit from the wisdom of the 12-step program. All right, so let's continue. I mentioned that I used Jason Waller's template. I didn't know he was an actor, but it doesn't matter to me. He's a recovering alcoholic, and he created this outline and breakdown of the 12 steps. And these are some of the questions that were posed And I gave you the foundation of recovery principle number 5 that we are going to conclude today. With Jason Waller, he talked about from the resources he extracted, and also interjecting his own experience, strength, and hope, is that step 5 of AA 12-step program is essential to the fundamental change of personality required to overcome and stop the perpetuation of COVID-19. He talked about alcohol and addiction. We're applying it to COVID-19. All right. So we want to go on to the next slide and bring up to you the information that I used in recovery principle number 4. We talked about this the other day. And in recovery principle number 4, I identified the resentment the resentment I had regarding COVID-19 and why. And I expressed the feelings. I also expressed the effect that it had and the part that I played in it. And I also shared with you how I had a resentment against myself. Why? Because of decisions and choices I made. Why? Because I took COVID-19 for granted. I was defiant. I was rebellious. I had feelings of stupidity, anger, grief. It affected me and members of my family, age 2 to 78. And the part that I played in it, I did not take heed. So in our 5th step, we know that we admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. So now we want to go back and demonstrate how I was able to get to the exact nature. Now, all of this is just a review because we went over it before. Okay. The resentment that I had was originally masked by anger, which was masked by uncertainty, which was masked by confusion, frustration, and disbelief. And the exact nature was fear. The resentment I had against myself was masked by stupidity, defiance, selfishness, self-centeredness, regrets, remorse, and ultimately fear. In the 12-step program, we learned that to face everything and recover instead of the negative approach of forget everything and run. No, no, no. So again, if you want to see the detailed conversations regarding this breakdown, please go to my previous podcast for that information. Now, let's go to our next one, which is we talked about the first questions that were posed by Jason Waller. All of this information is review. How long have I been living alone with secrets and our wrongs as we apply it to our character defects, as we apply to COVID-19? How do I feel about admitting our wrongs and our secrets to another human being? And are you ready to let go of anything that would hinder your acceptance and your responsibility regarding COVID-19? Okay, we went to question number 2, where we talked about the reservations you may have about doing your 5th step to reveal what you have been concealing for so long in terms of those character defects. Now that we're getting to the exact nature, we want to make sure you don't have any reservations whatsoever regarding COVID-19 and your responsibility towards it. Question number 3, when we talked about the acknowledgement and acceptance of the exact nature of your wrongs, the fact that, listen, I can accept that I am fearful, but I can use that in a positive way and use fear acronym of face everything and recover. All right. So we're going to go to question number 4 that we talked about yesterday. Do you believe that working our 5th step will make our lives better? And God knows it has made my life so much better. And if you ask anybody who have done the 5th step, they will tell you the same thing. There is benefits. There is a great spiritual benefit from working all of these steps, but particularly step number 5. Let's go to question number 5 of Jason Waller's breakdown, where he said, we want you to set a time and a place to do your 5th step. And again, for those who need to do a 5th step, I am available. Contact me, and I'll be glad to help you get to the exact nature of our character defects aka our wrongs. All right. Let's go to the next question that we talked about in detail, right? Has your relationship with a higher power changed as a result of working the fifth step? These are some of the benefits you will experience, and these are some of the questions that will be posed to you after you have done the fifth step. And you can tell me how your relationship with your higher power changed as a result of you doing the fifth step. Okay. Number 7 asks you the question of how has my view of myself changed after working step 5? You will see that after working your fifth step, you should have a different view of yourself. I shared with you in detail how I have learned to love myself, to respect myself, and want to contribute to keeping myself alive where possible. And doing that fifth step, I was able to get to the exact nature, face everything, and recover. And also, more importantly, just like with my disease of alcoholism, drug addiction, and the whole lifestyle, not to give anything or anybody that much power ever again to take me back to that life. And I want to do the same thing regarding COVID-19. So as a result of contracting COVID-19 and my higher power allowing me and my family members to survive it, you better believe I have a different view of myself after doing the fifth step regarding COVID-19. Let's go to question number 8. It says, when we do our fifth step regarding COVID-19, we don't want to forget or omit anything. I shared with you how a gentleman by the name of Joe Carr kept something for 25 years. He was in recovery for 25 years. And he kept that one thing that he wanted to conceal for the rest of his life. And one day he decided to face his fear, face everything and recover. He got a stranger and he asked that stranger at the bus stop to turn his back, and he revealed what he had been concealing, and he was set free from recovery, emerged empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. Even though his experience may not be like mine, because I listened to what he was saying, and when I did and do my fifth step, I don't forget anything nor omit anything, because I don't want to give anything or anybody that much power ever again to have me be in fear and forget everything and run. And the last question that we're going to discuss regarding Jason Waller's breakdown is, are you still clinging to something that doesn't work? And are you willing to ask for help and letting it go? Let's look at this for a second. Once you do your fifth step, and you have some time to meditate and reflect, and you will feel so much lighter in terms of getting that garbage can and emptying out. Sort of like having diarrhea. It's uncomfortable, it's painful, but once it comes out, you feel so much better. But if you just left a little bit up in there, if you forgot to empty the trash can, the garbage can in its totality, what are you clinging to? So if you are still clinging to something that doesn't work, it doesn't work time after time after time. It does not work. And when you reveal in your fifth step and get into the exact nature of that character defect that no longer works for you, never did work for you for real, because it was a defect of character. All right. So we don't want to give anything or anybody that much power ever again to remove us where God has placed us. And we recognize that our Creator gave us some natural God-given instincts, but they began to far exceed their purpose, and therefore they began to defect our character. And those are the character defects that we want to acknowledge, accept, get to the exact nature, and ultimately have them removed. So we don't want you to cling to anything. And the second part, it says, once you recognize that you're clinging on to something, are you willing to ask for help and letting it go? The how of the program. 3 indispensable principles are how: honesty, O, open-mindedness, W, willingness. So once you find that out, what's the sense of holding on to something that doesn't work? Because I'm going to share with you as we go in today's conclusion why that's so important. But you need to have the willingness to ask for help and letting it go. All right. So those were the questions that were posed in the outline of Jason Waller. And we are going to share with you the last section of his breakdown. And it is entitled, After Completing Step 5 of AA, Faith Without Works is the section, okay? So before we go into the conclusion, let me read you the foundation of, after you have completed your 5th step, what to look forward to. And I will inject my experience, my strength, my hope, my wisdom, my lack of wisdom, my decisions, my choices, both bad and good, regarding this 5th step. It says here, your drastic self-appraisal is done. Now, Jason Waller is talking about his disease of alcoholism, drug addiction. So I'm going to read what he says first. Then we're going to go back and we're going to dissect it and apply it to COVID-19. But let me give you the overview before we start on the entree, okay? Your drastic self-appraisal is done. Congratulations. You have taken an action to sweep away the debris that accumulated while living a life run on self-will. Get ready to expect the unexpected. After living in fear of the other shoe dropping for so long, you may be pleasantly surprised to find out that what begins in pain ends in serenity. This is the interesting paradox of recovery. You will probably feel for the first time that you are able to acknowledge that you are okay just as you are right at this moment. By accepting yourself as you are today, it doesn't mean that you're going to stop striving for improvement. You will now be free to go further in life than you ever have before. In his experience, the true magic is that all of our relationships begin to change as a result of working the 5th step, not just with ourselves and other people, but also with a higher power, whatever that might be for you. He concludes with each step we take in the program of AA, we deepen our real practical commitment to the program and to recovery, getting a sponsor, working the steps, finding a home group, having a commitment, and going to meetings. Each one of these very simple actions keeps us on a path of freedom and a new way of living. And he ends with, go for it. All right. So let's now change the area of focus from Jason Waller's description of addressing it from an alcohol drug addiction point of view to applying it to COVID-19. Remember, we're applying the same steps that are spiritual in nature. As Dr. Carl Jung, Dr. Bob, and Bill W. realized that we needed divine intervention, divine providence, and a divine light to help us deal with our old and existing attitudes, ideas, and behaviors that we discovered in 4, admitted in 5, right? And so when we do our 5th step, we will see the importance and that connection of finally being unified with our Creator, with ourselves, and every other human being. All right. So let's take it from the perspective of COVID-19. Okay. Once we've done our fifth step regarding COVID-19, like I feel that the drastic self-appraisal I did regarding COVID-19 is done. And I congratulate myself because I had the information before and did not use it. So, and this thing called recovery, it's never too late. Man is on secular time, but God is on sacred time. It's never too late. So I'm glad I did it and now I can share it with you. Okay. It says that we have taken an action to sweep away the debris that accumulated while living a life run on self-will. The fact that I, like you, heard about this COVID-19 last year, thought it was out there, huh? I didn't think it was applied to me, right? I was going to self-will it. I wasn't going to take nobody's suggestions. I wasn't going to follow no CDC's guidelines about washing our hands. No, I was not. And that was all based on self-will. But self-will contributed to me contracting COVID-19, and it can do the same for you, okay? It says, get ready to expect the unexpected. As a result of me doing that fifth step regarding COVID-19, I have been ready for the unexpected, and guess what? I didn't expect to be sitting here sharing with you as a result of contracting COVID-19. So right then and right there is a tangible is tangible evidence how this conversation was unexpected. Huh? Even though I was talking about the 12 steps, I was not applying it to my own personal experience of contracting COVID-19. But it says expect the unexpected, and maybe you will be sharing it with somebody else too. Once you apply these 12 spiritual principles to COVID-19 and you have done all of them to the best of your ability, and when you get to recovery principle number 5 and have done it like you will and should expect the unexpected, okay? It says after living in fear of the other shoe dropping for so long, you may be pleasantly surprised to find out that what begins in pain ends in serenity. So when I think about COVID-19, no. It was what began in defiance, what began in selfishness, what began in self-centeredness, what began in being egotistical, prideful, right? Stubborn. What began when my attitudes, ideas, and behaviors regarding COVID-19 was nonchalant, took it for granted. As a result of doing this fifth step, getting to the exact nature of that fear, I applied the same thing I did for my drugs, alcohol, prostitution to COVID-19, face everything and recover. And as a result, I have obtained serenity. No longer defiant, no longer resistant, just for today. You wonder why I said that? Because self-will doesn't go away. I have to, and they suggest that we practice these principles in all our affairs. You just don't do them and it's over with. No, we get challenged every day. We get tested every day. So I have to stay on guard every day. So one day at a time program, right? So I don't want to give anything or anybody that much power over me again. That includes me to not do and take the suggestions of the 12 steps and the CDC to save my life and to save the lives of my loved ones and even you, okay? So it says this is the interesting paradox of recovery, right? And it's so amazing because when we think about the word surrender, from a recovery standpoint, we are surrendering to go to the winning side, right? Whereas man's definition of surrender, meaning that you lost, you gave up, and you're being captured, okay? But no, we are surrendering free will, self-will, because we recognize that the disease of alcoholism and this COVID-19 will, and have whipped our behinds. And so if you're telling me to come to the winning side of these suggestions, if you're telling me to come to the winning side of these 12 spiritual principles, I'm coming, I'm running. Yes. All right. And so it's amazing how that paradox of something ending, as Waller says, pain ends in serenity. And the same thing with me going through that COVID-19, huh? Let me tell you, I could not breathe. I could not take a deep breath. I could not smell. I could not taste to my full capacity. I could not smell. My body ached like a toothache. But as a result of being spared and applying these 12 spiritual principles and taking those CDC suggestions seriously and listening to other people's experience, strength, and hope, I'm a believer 100%. And I am not taking this thing for granted. So I can breathe. I can smell. I can taste. I can see. I can hear. But I am listening. All right? So he goes on to say, okay, you will probably feel for the first time that you are able to acknowledge that you are okay, just as you are right now at this moment. See, when we embark on the fifth step and we begin to empty that garbage can, when we begin to reveal what we have concealed for so long, we begin to feel that no, there's nothing wrong with me. As a result of talking with this person, I found out what happened to me. Yes, and as a result, I can say I feel okay. I am okay just the way I am right now. I didn't always feel that way, huh? But once you relieve that information, once you reveal it, oh man, you will recognize that you're okay. You're not alone, because that person that you're sharing it with to help get you to the exact nature, they're going to share some things about them. That's why this recovery thing is a we program. What I can't do alone, we can do together, even stopping the perpetuation of this COVID-19. He goes on to say, by accepting yourself as you are today, it doesn't mean that you're going to stop striving for improvement. We will now be free to go further in life than we ever have before. So we can contribute to the solution of COVID-19 pandemic. This is not, nor will it be the last pandemic that man has experienced. But right now, we are all going through this knee-bowing experience. And we are all in need of help through our higher power, the God of your understanding. And a solution is presented in the 12 steps to combat any physical condition, learning how to address them from a spiritual angle. As Donald Lawrence so eloquently said, we are not a natural being having a spiritual experience. No, we are spiritual beings living this natural experience. All right. So he says, in his experiments with other people, right, but also with a higher power. For those who don't believe, I understand. I've been there too. For those who are agnostic and atheists, I understand. I'm sure I felt that way at one point or another. But guess what? Who breathed life into you this morning? Who woke you up this morning? Who woke me up this morning? Huh? So whatever you identify that force is, that is your higher power. It wasn't man. So through these spiritual principles, you will get to identify a higher power of your choosing that's greater than you and greater than me, that can share with us and show us that if we align our will with his will, we can get things done and we can have a better life, okay? The last part, it says, with each step we take in dealing with COVID-19, we deepen our real practical commitment to saving our lives and the lives of others during this pandemic. Getting a sponsor to share these steps with, particularly these fifth step, by taking the suggestions of the CDC that are offered as well, by listening to other people's experience, strength, and hope, wisdom, lack of wisdom, bad, good decisions, right? Finding a home group where hopefully we have and are establishing COVID-19 Anonymous, just like Gamblers Anonymous, Alcoholics Anonymous. Guess what? COVID-19 Anonymous. Let's start a group where you are and apply these 12 spiritual principles. Having a commitment to do the next right thing, not doing your own thing, not me doing my own thing, but doing the next right thing to stop the perpetuation of this COVID-19. Washing your hands, social distance, wearing a mask, getting tested, and ultimately getting vaccinated. Okay, those are the commitments. And each and every one of these very simple actions, suggestions, will keep us on the pathway of freedom and stopping the perpetuation of this COVID-19. Okay, so let's go to our conclusion, and we will see what we have done so far. And I want to share with you what we have done so far. So I'm going to give you this overview of steps 1 through 5. Okay. 1, we admitted we were powerless over COVID-19 and that our lives, L-I-V-E-S, sorry, had become unmanageable. And this is the step that we need to take 100%. Do you hear me? 100%. Total acceptance without any reservation. So when I share with you regarding step 1, we admitted we were powerless over COVID-19. Man does not have the answer. Man is still trying to figure it out. In the meantime, COVID-19 is kicking butt and taking names. We're up into the millions of those who have transitioned with COVID-19. There are more coming that are reported, right? And so we recognize we are powerless over. It is a living organism. It strives to live. And we have to admit and accept that we are powerless over it, and that it is and has and will continue to make our lives unmanageable unless we learn to apply these 12 spiritual principles. And so that's why I said, taking 100% total acceptance without any reservations. And when I say any reservations, listen, I am wearing my mask all the time. I am washing my hands as much as possible or using the sanitizer. Yes. I am social distancing wherever possible. I am not going out to public places if I don't have to. I don't want to have any reservations, because just like in our disease of alcoholism, our disease has not gone anywhere. No, it's not. It's incurable, right? I cannot let my guard down with my disease of alcoholism, and I do not need to let my guard down regarding COVID-19. I have no reservations. None. And that's why recovery principle number 1 regarding COVID-19 needs to be taken 100% with total acceptance without any reservations. All right, let's overview step 2. Came to believe that a power or powers greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Sanity only means soundness of mind. Okay, so what power or powers are greater than you and I? Well, for one thing, the CDC's suggestions, even if they who are reporting it are not taking their own suggestions. Huh? We, the power or powers greater than us, can be the tangible experience and evidence of other people. Tangible evidence we see. Y'all will see on my open page what I look like with COVID-19. That's tangible evidence. You see it, right? And then you have powers greater than you when you talk to the other people and hear their experiences, of others expressed in a group. So when you go to a family or talk with a family and they have lost loved ones, they are a group. There are more of them, right? And when you hear them share what they could have done, what they should have done, what they would have done in order to save their loved one's life, right? And ultimately, a power is our God, our creator, So we came to believe I've been restored to sanity. I've been restored to soundness of mind regarding this COVID-19. It is not a joke. It is real. So came to believe helps us to restore us to sanity. A power or powers greater than you and I that can say, no, you ain't got the power. No, you do not. So I need to relinquish that idea that I know everything, that I know about me. No. I contributed to contracting COVID-19. So how much did I really know about myself? How bad and big and bad did I think I really was? And guess what? I could not get rid of it. I got myself into it, but I couldn't get rid of it. Similar to my alcoholism and drug addiction. We as human beings, we get ourselves into a lot of situations. And guess what? It's going to take a power or powers greater than ourselves to get us out of them. So we need to come to believe in that power or powers greater than us. Let's go to the next one. Okay. It says, made a decision to turn our will and our lives over to the care of God as we understood him. All right, so hear what I say down here. It says, if that power or powers greater than you or I are working for your good and your best interest, why wouldn't me keep making decisions to turn it over to them? Why wouldn't we do that? Okay. And so the question is, made a decision. We make decisions all day long regarding COVID-19. Am I going to wear the mask? Oh, that's okay. I went to the store, touched this, touched that. Did I forget to wash my hands? All right. No, we made that decision to have that psychic change, right? To that power or powers greater than us. And so they say when we do something for a 30, 60, particularly a 90-day period of time, we have created a habit. So create that habit of wearing the mask, washing your hands, social distancing, right? Not going out to public places. Let it be ingrained. Be restored to sanity. It would be insane for me to go out without a mask now. It would be insane for me to go to a store without a mask or touching all. It would be insane without washing my hands. It will be insane for me to go around a crowd of people who may be wearing a mask and who may not. It will be insane. That's not soundness of mind. So if I'm making that decision to turn my will and my life over to the care of that higher power, I choose to call him God. Why wouldn't I make that decision all day, all long, all day long? Why wouldn't I make that decision? Because we make decisions all day long. Will I, won't I? Can I, will I? All right. Huh? But we are saying to you, if that power or powers greater than you are working for your good and in your best interest, why wouldn't you keep making decisions to turn it over to them? Why? Huh? Okay, so let's go to the next slide and the last two, okay? And here we're going to look at recovery principle number 4, where we made a searching and fearless more inventory of ourselves. And let's do the overview of that. When, where, and how were your character defects formulated? Where did they begin? By whom? Where? The scenario, such as becoming selfish, right? Being selfish, right? Being defiant, being stubborn, being egotistical, being prideful. Where? Where did those character defects start? Doing that searching and fearless more inventory to find out why you are like you are, why you think like you think, why you act like you act, why you say the things that you say, why you feel the way that you feel. What happened to you? Not what's wrong with you. What happened to you? And when we do that searching and fearless more inventory, we will identify all those things that are within, and we need to reveal them. We need to acknowledge and accept that, yes, I am promiscuous, I am jealous, I am egotistical, I am defiant, I can be rebellious, I have a lot of anger issues. Yes. Well, where did all that come from? What was the source? Don't you want to know how you became you? Huh? Well, it's through that 4th step that we identify the liabilities as well as assets, but we concentrate more on the liabilities, the character defects, our sins, our wrongs. Wouldn't you want to know? It's like presenting yourself like the onion with layers and layers and layers and layers and layers of stuff. But at the core of that onion is the real you. And it's through the 12 steps that onion is going to be unlayered, right? So that we can get to the core of who you are and what the Creator's intentions, destiny, purpose for your life is. Okay? All right, so that's recovery principle number 4 overview. Now, let's look at what we've just went over. Recovery principle number 5. Admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Okay? When we select the person who we want to select a person who will not co-sign our stuff, but help us get to the core of those character defects. We want to be as honest as we possibly can, emptying out that garbage can, right? And we want to acknowledge, accept what we find, and be willing to get help to face it. Don't forget everything and run. No, face everything and recover. All right. So that concludes the overview of steps 1 through 5, and it also concludes step 5 in its totality. If it's God's will that we are joined tomorrow for day 72, and He breathed life into you and breathed life into me, wake you up and wake me up, we will be reunited. In the meantime, ask yourself the question, are you being in the prevention intervention or restoration mode of COVID-19? Are you being proactive, inactive, reactive, or responsible regarding COVID-19? Huh? But most of all, we want you to be safe. So let me close by sharing my sponsors with you again, and also encouraging you to be a sponsor if you would like to. And I'm just going to mention them right now here. Okay. And they are, all right. So let's put them up. Free to Hope, right? Free to Hope says, from recovery, emerge empowered to give hope to others, help others prosper equally. Women do haul transportation services. Mr. C's Barbershop, Morgan's of Delaware, okay? And we also have Lady T at Morgan's of Delaware and Divine Light. The information is free to the public, but if you want to be a sponsor, please contact me at edwina.bell@yahoo.com or call me at 302-690-6679 and Cash App to $ free to Hope if you would like to be a sponsor. Now, I would like to share with you also the me getting the shot and then my closing page. All right. So here we go.
We'll watch you for about 15 minutes. Okay.
Start it again.
Then, all right, here we go, my daughter. Got it? All right, put your Band-Aid on. We'll watch you for about 15 minutes. Okay. And then we'll check up.
Okay, that was my vaccine shot. And now we're going to give you my closing page. And again, if it's God's will that we are joined tomorrow for day 72, I'll be here if it's God's will. And I hope and pray that you will be too.